we're actually gonna react to another Moist Critical video. And yeah, it has to do with kind of this comment right here. Nintendo will destroy your life. Yeah, as I said, they don't they don't like their fan base because everything they do is against their fan base, and every fucking executive decision they just I don't know. They don't really care about their fans. They made it abundantly clear. So we're gonna watch a video of Charlie again, kind of touching base on it. Because Nintendo did another oopsie. Also another thing I was gonna say, just to kind of conclude on the Bloodborne and Sony topic, is fuck you, Sony. Okay, please listen to your fans. Please, just please. We waste so much money on you guys and on your games and all that. The least you can do is just cave in and allow it. Okay? Even if you don't splurge a ton of money to make it, just make it happen, dude. Because I'm sick and tired of hearing every oh, there's a game show, there's this, there's that, oh, maybe now Bloodborne, oh my god, Bloodborne, and then we hear Horizon. And as Charlie said, Horizon all over our bodies. I feel like Sony fans, our assholes are now Horizon, because Sony's just gonna stick their dick in us and fuck us once again. Please. I was gonna say something totally different than that. But I had a brain fart. But yeah, let's move on to the Nintendo.
Like Nintendo as a company, I've said this for 6
Yeah,
years.
Nintendo
now.
being evil.
Nintendo constantly makes decisions
again,
that are actively just hurting
not surprising.
the biggest fans of their property.
Yep.
It seems like they're just hell-bent on ruining people's passion for their properties. They're just on this warpath against fun itself. It's like when SpongeBob had to teach Plankton what fun is. That's what the community constantly does for Nintendo, only for them to just shout "bah humbug" and then send you a cease and desist, or just outright slap you down. Or if you're a YouTuber,
never once in my life said "bah humbug."
Oftentimes, Nintendo is just evil for the sake of it. Like, I'm talking mustache twirlingly sinister. Like, the Nintendo Corporation is a villain.
That's like a Salvador Dali mustache. And they're just
I remember a case like 4 years ago where Nintendo banned a handful of streamers for playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity early. Except they weren't playing it early. Nintendo just forgot that time zones exist, so they banned streamers who were playing the official release of Hyrule Warriors because they forgot. That's how out of touch and archaic Nintendo is, and how willing they are to just bend someone over and spank their cheeks raw, even when there's no real reason to do so. This is something Nintendo has done for years now with like Smash Brothers, which I've talked about endlessly. But they get up extra early in the morning just to hate. Like, they try and just ruin fun. Nintendo would
even retro consoles, man. They're closing like the Wii U, the 3DS shop. Like, how are we supposed to access those
but I just get very passionate when I talk about how menacing Nintendo is for no reason. So the reason why I'm talking about them today is because they've just dealt a massive blow to emulation. Yeah. Nintendo deserves more shit than a porta potty for this, and I really hope they get huge backlash for it, because I think this is just completely unacceptable.
Let's just shit on all the
started 2 days ago with a channel called Retro Game Corp announcing that they had received strikes for content that had a Nintendo game.
Don't get me started on Xbox.
The channel owner explains that they are considering a counterclaim under fair use, as it was educational and transformative and had no effect on the market. It was a demonstration of a console no longer for sale. Even the Wii U eShop is closed. So the company itself has no means of earning revenue.
I don't own a Wii U. I own every other Nintendo fucking thing besides the Switch.
And what makes emulation so important? There are games that aren't being sold anymore and cannot be accessed outside of emulating them. It's fucking ridiculous. It is an incredibly important tool for preservation. But the only thing Nintendo is interested in preserving is that chip on their shoulder they have against any kind of internet content that shows their games. So
Charlie's not. I'm sorry. This is so out of topic. Is gnarly? Charlie's nostrils. I feel like he has one longer, bigger nostril than the other. Is that normal? I don't know. Yeah. Nintendo. I don't get me started on them, dude. Honestly, I think that Nintendo only cares about their fans in Japan. Anywhere else in the world, they don't we just we're they don't care. They don't care, man, because like as I said, like he said, they did copyright strike other time zones, people that were playing their games because they were different time zones. There's a whole bunch of fucking bullshit, as I mentioned before, of Nintendo kind of like ending your life because you streamed one of their games, or shutting down old games or support or consoles or shops. Like they just hate, like for years Waluigi fans have been wanting a Waluigi game, and they're like, fuck you, we're gonna do a Wario game, bitch, or a Luigi game, or a Toad and Toadette game. But Waluigi, oh hell no. They just hate us. Why? But I feel like it's anywhere other than Japan, obviously. I think, because if you think about it, they copyright striked everyone for different time zones, but everyone in Japan had to wait for their time. Like, I don't know. I don't think. I might be wrong. I don't know. But again, there's Nintendo USA with like I think the guy who runs that is named Bowser, ironically. But they don't stand up for their, like, us here. I think maybe the Nintendo in Japan is like, you guys have to enforce what the fuck we say over here. You guys can't. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Which is
it's so
something Nintendo has
frustrating.
done since the
Why
dawn
are
of
video
YouTube
game
itself.
companies like
There
this?
was a time period where you couldn't actually have a YouTube video that had a Nintendo game in it because Nintendo would have your account banned.
See?
They fucking hate it for
Oh,
some reason.
man.
They try and protect their copyright.
I
with
used
an
to
iron
sweat
fist.
bullets
And I know there's
whenever
always
I
people that have Nintendo's
first
cock in
started
their mouth
YouTube.
trying to make
I was like,
arguments
ooh,
on
I
their
play
behalf, doing free
retro
PR for
Nintendo
them,
games, and I was like,
fighting
oh,
battles,
hell
saying
no.
like,
I learned
oh, yeah,
very
but people
quickly
will
not to
download
do
games
that.
they don't have on emulators, and that hurts Nintendo. Load of baloney. That's dirty barnacles, especially in cases like this. There is no one getting hurt by emulating games that are not accessible through official means. There is tons of games like that. Emulation is extraordinarily important, and Nintendo does everything it can to ruin it. And in doing so, they even try and ruin other people's lives in the process. That channel now has 2 strikes on their YouTube account, meaning that they're 1 strike away from having their account terminated, meaning a source of revenue, part of their livelihood, is
shout out to
on the
Charlie
cusp
though
of being
for shedding
taken
light
away
on
at the hands
what's
of
happening with
Nintendo.
that channel though.
And no
Hopefully
amount of
that
groveling at Nintendo's feet ever appeases
will
them.
help
The only thing
them.
that appeases them is complete fucking destruction of fun and destruction of emulators. So the big thing that happened today is they just shut down Ryujinx. Ryujinx is one of the last main remaining Switch emulators, and it just got wiped out today. Like the dinosaurs with the fucking meteor, Nintendo came in and they put the kibosh on it. According to an official statement on Ryujinx's Discord server, developer GDK Chan was contacted by Nintendo, offered an agreement to stop working on the project.
And also, fuck you,
the agreement
Nintendo.
wasn't
You want us to
confirmed, but the
spend
organization has been entirely
money.
removed. So here is the Discord announcement about it, talking about how it's going to cease.
You want us to spend, I don't know, how much is a Switch nowadays? Like, pretty much almost the price of an Xbox Series S or a PlayStation 4 or 5, right? $300. Yeah, you want us to spend $300 or more for a fucking Switch that runs like ass, instead of allowing us to, even if we have a Nintendo Switch or a Switch Lite and the game, to be able to emulate it, to run it better on a PC where it can run flawlessly. You rather just, in the words of Charlie, because he's not like me. He doesn't flat out just fucking insult. They take a pooper scooper. An OLED is $400. Bro, I can save $400 and then $400 more, combine it, get a PlayStation 5 Pro, which I don't recommend. Just buy a fucking PC. But that's insane. That's insane. Like are you gonna make a real live action game of Mario, like, or Zelda, for us to spend money we do not have for that? My favorite game, Disco Elysium, crash every hour on the dot on the Switch. Yeah, that it's so fucking frustrating. But yeah, it's like Nintendo just takes a pooper scooper and flings shit at their fans. Literally.
Operations. And like I mentioned, this is one of the last remaining Switch emulators. This isn't the first time Nintendo's done this. They took down Yuzu not that long
200
ago.
hours on the Switch? That is crazy.
That was the sheriff in town. Yuzu was the go-to Switch emulator.
Yeah.
Until Nintendo put it in the crosshairs and they took it out behind the barn. Nintendo's motto is, you'll have fun with our games the way we want you to. Any other way that you enjoy our products is not acceptable. It's not permissible. It's illegal. You're going to jail, Buster. Nintendo has a set way that they believe.
It's like you telling your parents, Mom, I want McDonald's. And she's like, no, I'll make McDonald's at the house. And then she adds like fucking
support for Smash Brothers and have even actively gone out of their
not
way
the same
to
ingredients.
shut down tournaments over the years. And that's just a community of people that love their games.
509 hours.
Events for their games, and Nintendo
yeah.
sometimes
If I had a
comes out there and
Switch
says,
or a
"Nope,
portable,
shut
if
it
I had
down,
a,
pussy." Like they go out of their
if I
way
had like
to
an
ruin fun.
ROG
They've
ally,
been a little better about
I would
destroying
definitely
Smash
put like
tournaments
1,000 hours in
recently,
video games
but
easily.
historically, you've always just had a coin flip on whether or not Nintendo's going to show up and just say, that's enough, take this down. And it's that way for so many things. It's just so unnecessary, and it's always so heavy-handed. They always choose, like, scorched earth, like the most aggressive path they can take. Strikes on your channel. Banning
Nintendo
is
like the equivalent of Big Brother
48
in,
hours, which
like,
is fundamentally,
what is it,
like,
1984?
To put that in perspective, Nintendo having that power is basically Nintendo showing up to your job and firing you for 48 hours. Like, that's how extreme it is.
That's a better
it's
analogy,
so
I guess.
Stupid. It's silly. Well, it would be silly if it wasn't so destructive. And it's not like they're doing anything good. Like, they're not releasing an emulator of their
They don't
own.
gain anything
Like,
from
they
doing
take
half
down
of
these
the shit they
emulators, and
do
then what?
anyways.
Then the games are just inaccessible. Some games you will never be able to play again now.
Yeah.
There are some games that now just fade into memory. A myth, a legend, even.
Pretty much.
That can never be played again because Nintendo is destroying emulators. It's like if they had a
Nintendo, when it
product,
comes
I'd
to the
understand.
internet, is
That'd be
just terrified of it.
understandable. It'd make
Yeah.
a little more sense. Like, oh, okay, Nintendo views this as competition. They're kind of stepping on their toes. Like, they have an official emulator, and now there's a bunch of unofficial ones out there. So I guess I'd understand why they'd be reaching their tendrils out there to try and stop that. But they don't. They don't have an emulator. They don't have ways of playing games from the old Wii U shop or anything. They don't have ways of playing some of these games. The only option are these emulators, which now are no longer an option because Nintendo
I'll let Charlie
is burying
finish
them.
before I give my 2
They're such
cents.
a litigious company, yet so lethargic when it comes to, like, delivering things that make sense.
Fucking
Their
stole
Nintendo
the words
Online
out of my
service
mouth.
is still a fucking joke. That is still a
Nintendo is
dial-up service that you're paying
Elon
for,
Musk of
basically.
gaming.
Every
Ooh.
Nintendo Online game I've ever played, especially Smash Brothers Ultimate Online,
Smash
is
Brothers? I haven't
fucking
played that
sickening.
version.
Like, their
Where can I pirate
like,
that shit?
they're fun. They're very
Just
fun
kidding.
games, but their hardware is outdated. Their hardware is archaic. A fucking calculator on your iPhone
Yes.
is probably more powerful than the entire Switch console. Like, Nintendo is so behind on the times. But they have such
You
good
made the point I
first-party
wanted to
games
make, but I was
from,
gonna
like, some
be
very creative
harsher.
people internally that make bangers.
But I'll
But it's
still.
all wrapped up in this company that is out of touch and downright greedy and evil.
Yes.
There is no reason Nintendo should be shutting down emulators. They are doing your work for you. They are creating more fans of Nintendo property than Nintendo is. What Nintendo should do is release an emulator of their own. What they should do is offer better services as opposed to shut down the better services. Like, they're shutting these emulators down without having anything of their own that is an improvement. They don't have anything. It's just dumb. I hate it. I actually hate it. So yeah, I wanted to rant
You're not
about
the
this a
only
little
one that
bit.
hate it.
It's a classic, probably like 2 or 3 times a year Nintendo rant where I just have to spit on that company. It
Bro,
sucks.
it's
really
more than
am
twice
so
a
upset
year,
with them
trust me.
because they make such good games. It would just be such a slam dunk, an easy layup for Nintendo to just finally turn a new leaf and start getting into the 21st century. Like, finally doing things that aren't just needlessly evil. that aren't just cease and desisting everyone and everything and shutting projects down, taking down fan projects. Like, it's just so unnecessary.
It
So
is.
yeah, RIP to Ryu Jinx. Hopefully that YouTuber doesn't lose his account to Nintendo. And big fuck you to Nintendo. That's about it.
Yeah, fuck you, Nintendo. Yeah, let me. Basically, I was gonna say what he just said, but let me kind of go a little into depth and not so PG. Um, Nintendo is fucking archaic compared to like Xbox and PlayStation, obviously, and I don't just mean graphics or hardware. I just in the way they conduct business. They're just so fucking archaic. Like I think there's just stuck. They've always been hard stuck to like when they were number one. Well, they are number one because of obviously their IP, like Mario, like it's family friendly kid games. But like I'm talking back to the arcade time, the arcade eras when they were first coming up. Because they first of all, Nintendo, just to give you a brief history, they started off being a actual card company, like playing card company, and then they ventured off to arcade games with Donkey Kong and Mario versus Donkey Kong, and then they went into like the games. Like you see, Super Nintendo. I have the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, the Wii. I'm a big Nintendo fan. I've always been a big Nintendo fan. I think the first fucking video game I picked up was a Nintendo game. But still, even though I'm a big fan, Nintendo, stop it. Stop it. You gotta. There's a big thing in video games and content creation. They say, adapt or die. Adapt or get left behind. Nintendo, you gotta just stop trying to spoon feed. We're not. Your fan base isn't babies. I know you cater to children and all that, but we're not babies. We're adults. Okay, we're adults, and for the kids to play your video games, we adults have to buy them. So stop trying to spoon feed us bullshit. Okay, it's like imagine you have a fucking baby and you sit him in the chair, in the baby chair, and you're feeding him fucking Gerber food, and instead of giving him one that he likes, you give him fucking the pea one, the not the pea, the yellow. I'm talking about the green peas, whatever. They don't like that shit. They spit it out. Why do you keep trying to force feed them that flavor? Give them one that they will fucking consume, you know? But it's why are you doing this, fucking Nintendo? Why are you trying to just gatekeep shit and just we don't want the shit that you're feeding us, man. Like stop trying to dominate. And it's another thing I'm just gonna mention. Speaking of the history of Nintendo, did you know? I think, don't quote me on this. I'll actually do research to try to see. But I was pretty sure Nintendo was gonna merge with Sega, right? Back in the days, or was it with Sony, PlayStation? Let's do a little bit of research so I don't spread false information. But it's kind of ironic if that's the case. Nintendo almost merged with, let's see. Okay, here we go. Nintendo and Sega would have merged on October 1st, 2024. Yeah, so they were gonna become one. So imagine that. Like nowadays we have like Mario versus Sonic Olympics or whatever the fuck. But yeah, back in the days I remember they were gonna merge. I'm such a fucking gamer at heart that I always remembered this. But if you look at this. In 1991, Nintendo and Sony were working together on a version of the Super NES, which I have over there. With a built-in CD drive. They were gonna work together. Imagine Sony and Nintendo being one fucking corporation. My God, good thing that never happened. I say why? Like, yeah, the endless possibilities are insane, but knowing the way that Nintendo does their business and how much they hate their fucking fan base, and now Sony, right? Imagine that. They'll be the gatekeepers of everything. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just so stupid. Whatever. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on because my heart can't take it anymore. Okay, I'm a gamer at heart, and I'm devastated right now with those two subjects. But yeah, go watch Moist Critical or Penguinz0 on YouTube. He does cover a lot of different types of topics and kind of makes it easier to understand. And he is very um he goes into a lot of detail.